The King's Avatar, Chapter 1491 Cloud Wind Body, Audio Source, WursharWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1491, Cloud Wind Body. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Lost. It wasn't Mofan's first time losing, but the loss this time stunned him. He had been chased to death by his opponent for 2 minutes 34 seconds. He had everything he could think of, yet he had still failed to escape. He went out of the player booth slowly and walked down from the stage slowly. As he passed Fang Rui, he made no reaction towards Fang Rui's "I'll take revenge for you." When he returned to his seats and passed by Yishu, he heard Yishu say, "Your thoughts are still too single-minded." Some people's play styles were too single-minded. Some people's techniques were too single-minded. As for Mofan, Yishu criticized him for his thoughts being too single-minded. Mofan didn't reply back. He sat down at his seat in the corner and reflected on these words. Fang Rui received a warm welcome from Happy's fans. As they cheered, he strutted around as if Happy wasn't the team falling behind right now. He walked onto the stage, waving his hands towards the crowd as if he had won. It was only until the referee rushed over and berated him did he go into the player booth dejectedly. The crowd laughed. The tense atmosphere from Zhang Jiale's 1v2 had lightened considerably. The match began. The public chat had been very calm previously, but Fang Rui's presence changed that. How mighty. 1v2. Fang Rui gave praise towards Zhang Jiale. It's not over yet, Zhang Jiale replied. It pretty much is, Fang Rui said. As the two chatted, their characters moved the middle road again. There was plenty of content spread throughout the map, but up until now, all of them had taken place inside the central manor. Every fight had been spectacular though, so there were no complaints from the viewers. On the other hand, Pan Lin and Li Yibo were analyzing Happy's reasons for choosing this map. So far, it looked like Happy's players were more comfortable because of their familiarity with the map, but it hadn't given them any definite advantage yet. Of course, there were a lot of factors in winning a match. Relying on the home game advantage was just one factor. Boundless Sea and Dazzling 100 Blossoms quickly reached the front and back of the manor, respectively. Dazzling 100 Blossoms didn't hesitate and went through the rear door. Zhang Jiale had made the same choice in all three of his fights. As for Boundless Sea, Fang Rui looked to have a plan in mind. He opened the front door and strolled leisurely into the manor as if he were here to tour the place. But the more attentive viewers had noticed that Boundless Sea's mana was dropping steadily. He had evidently activated a skill that continuously drained his mana. What was it? Cloud Wind Body. Pan Lin shouted out. Cloud Wind Body was a Chi Master high-level scouting skill. In the game, there would be a radar-like map in his view. When a character entered its range, the user would receive a notification. But if that was all it did, the skill's value was too worthless compared to the mana it consumed. Cloud Wind Body increased the user's perception and also gave the user more precise control over their chi. More precise control meant auto-targeting. This effect seemed too amazing, but in reality, very few Chi Masters chose to use Cloud Wind Body. Sure, auto-targeting was nice, but that didn't mean the user attacked any faster. Their attacks could still be interrupted. In the majority of Chi Masters' eyes, the low-level reinforced iron bones was more practical. In the team competing against Blue Rain, Fang Rui's Boundless Sea had relied on reinforced iron bones at a crucial moment to great success. But in today's match, he had chosen to use a high mana consumption skill like Cloud Wind Body, but the effects weren't anything impressive. Fang Rui isn't hesitating to use Cloud Wind Body to quickly locate Dazzling 100 Blossoms. It doesn't seem necessary. Pan Lin had his doubts. It was a 1v1 group arena. There was no need to quickly kill the opponent. Fang Rui didn't need to be so impatient. Li Yibo didn't say anything. Although he had the same doubts as Pan Lin, he decided that it would be better to wait and observe some more before further analysis. Boundless Sea still looked like he was touring around the manor leisurely with Cloudwind body activated, but his movement speed had clearly increased. He wanted to minimize the mana consumption. The viewers with their omniscient view watched as the two characters gradually drew nearer, but because of the walls, neither side could see each other. However, with Cloudwind body activated, he could use Chi to sense his surroundings. On his radar, a little blip had appeared representing dazzling 100 blossoms. Fang Rui didn't immediately launch an attack like everyone had thought he would. Instead, his movements made everyone confused. Does he want to ambush Zhang Jiale? Pan Lin guessed. Fang Rui's signature style was being dirty. An ambush was nothing surprising for him. Li Yibo remained silent. He looked at Boundless Sea's movements but couldn't see any places for him to set up an ambush. But if he wasn't going for an ambush, what else could he be doing? Just when he asked this question to himself, Boundless Sea suddenly stopped. On his radar, dazzling 100 blossoms little dot was clearly moving. Boundless Sea raised his hands and gathered chi. This is spirit reaches to the rainbow. Pan Lin noted. The Chi Master's awakening skill, spirit reaches to the rainbow, gathered Chi and circulated it throughout the body. Boundless Sea's clothes looked to be fluttering violently in the wind as his entire body seemed to ignite into flames. What is he doing? He wants to attack from there? Pan Lin was utterly confused. Boundless Sea and dazzling 100 blossoms were separated by a wall. There was no door on this wall. There was no way for him to launch a sneak attack. Li Yibo's heart trembled. Zoom in. Quote. He called out to the broadcast director. The camera zoomed in, but Li Yibo's gaze wasn't on Boundless Sea, but the wall in front. The large section of the wallpaper was peeling off. The bricks that could be seen were covered with cracks. This was damage left over from the previous two battles. Attacks from dazzling 100 blossoms, Lord Grimm, or Deception might have landed here. Li Yibo couldn't remember right now, but he knew that this wall had already been damaged heavily. Fang Rui's ambush would succeed because Boundless Sea's attack would pierce through this wall, and Zhang Jiale probably wasn't aware of it. WuxaWorldAudio.com. The dot on the radar continued to move towards this area. Boundless Sea's clothes continued to flutter wildly, even making some sound, but this sound wasn't loud enough to pass through the wall for Zhang Jiale to hear. Closer. Everyone knew what was about to happen. They could already picture it in their heads. The broadcast had already found the most suitable viewing angle. The dot flashed again. Dazzling 100 blossoms and Boundless Sea were now as close as possible. Spirit reaches to the rainbow. Fang Rui didn't disappoint and attacked. The chi gathered in his body poured out. With a boom, the wall collapsed. Zhang Jiale was startled. Boundless Sea's spirit reaches to the rainbow tore through the wall, the glaring light flying towards him. Roll. Dazzling 100 blossoms rolled to the side. It was a conditioned reflex for an experienced pro player to roll facing a dangerous situation where there was no time to think. However, no matter how fast he moved, he couldn't escape from the system's auto-targeting. The spirit reaches to the rainbow adjusted in the air according to dazzling 100 blossoms movements and crashed into him. The focused chi instantly exploded. It wasn't just beautiful, it also dealt frightening damage. The nearby ornaments instantly shattered. Up until spirit reaches to the rainbow hit the target, Fang Rui didn't deactivate his Cloudwind body, so the skill would automatically lock onto the target. Zhang Jialei's instinctive reaction was no match for the system's auto-targeting. But because of the wall, the damage from the attack had lessened. The attack only took away 6% of Dazzling 100 Blossom's health. But this was just the start of Boundless Sea's attacks. After a spirit reaches to the rainbow, he instantly closed the distance. Once the chi scattered from the explosion, silence didn't follow. Before the chi completely scattered, a new wave of chi shot out from Boundless Sea's palms. Time seemed to have frozen. All people could see was Boundless Sea surging chi raging thunderously in this little room. Finally, when everything became peaceful again, the system announced, "Glory." Fang Rui's Boundless Sea had won. The audience was dumbfounded. A full health Fang Rui bringing down a 27% health Zhang Jialei wasn't surprising. The surprise was from the way he did it. Ambushed to death in one combo. Was this dirty or tyrannical? No one was sure. You could say it was dirty, but that explosive burst of chi was very heroic. You could say that it was tyrannical, but hiding behind a wall and gathering chi was very dirty. In any case, Happy had won this round. It was a clean victory, chasing back the advantage that Zhang Jialei had gained. If Fang Rui's previous interactions with the crowd had eased the crowd's tension, then his dominating performance this round was a tranquilizer to Happy's fans. After the shock from such a clean victory, Happy's fans recovered. Their excited cheers resonated throughout the entire Seocean Stadium. End chapter. The King's Avatar, Chapter 1492 Harmony, audio source, wuxia-world-audiobook.com. Chapter 1492, Harmony. Translator, Nomyami. Editor, Nomyami. Zhang Jialei left the player booth. Despite the cheers for his defeat, he was calm. This loss was too insignificant for him. There was no loser in glory more pitiful than him. Zhang Jialei walked down slowly from the stage. The cheers from the crowd continued, accompanied with quite a few boos towards him as well. After his return, his popularity had dropped considerably. Team Tyranny's third player stood up from his seat. The display on the big screen amply switched to an image of the player and character. Lin Jingyan, Brawler, Dark Thunder. He had been a part of Tyranny for 2 whole years, but even now, whenever Lin Jingyan saw his name alongside his character Dark Thunder, he would always feel a sense of unfamiliarity. 3 hits. In the end, he couldn't forget the name of the brawler that he had traveled through wind and rain with for 7 years. Even though the two of them had never obtained any glorious achievements, he would always feel at peace controlling that character. 2 years ago, that peace was finally broken. At the end of his career, Lin Jingyan became a drifting leaf, finally settling at Tyranny. Lin Jingyan was grateful for Tyranny. During his most bitter moments, the team had looked highly upon him. He had decided that he would give the final light of his career to Tyranny. But in the end, what was different was different. Lin Jingyan, Dark Thunder. As Lin Jingyan walked, he looked at the name on the screen and then at his opponent, Fang Rui, Chi Master, Boundless Sea. Lin Jingyan suddenly laughed. The fate of these two brothers was so similar. A different name accompanied Fang Rui too. Fang Rui had even switched classes. Lin Jingyan didn't only feel uncomfortable looking at the name Dark Thunder. He also felt uncomfortable looking at the name Boundless Sea. Fang Rui, Thief, Doubtful Demon. It was almost like he could see these names in front of him. Lin Jingyan shook his head. Am I getting too nostalgic? Take revenge for me, Zhang Jialei said as he passed by him. I'll do my best. Lin Jingyan smiled. Good luck. Zhang Jialei didn't say anything else. Lin Jingyan walked onto the stage and entered the player booth. He swiped his card and loaded into the match. He had repeated these motions who knew how many times in these 9 years, 7 years with 3 hits, 2 years with Dark Thunder. Dark Thunder. Lin Jingyan repeated the name of his character again. He loaded into the map, and the match officially began. Both characters took the middle road again. The audience was getting a little restless. Wasn't this the 6th round of the group arena already? Up until now, no player had taken a roundabout route. All of them went straight towards the center. The manor wasn't a manor anymore, but an arena. Then, one player at the front of the manor, while the other player at the back of the manor. Except, this time, the two players finally chose to do something new. Not through the door, or onto the walls. Lin Jingyan's Dark Thunder went counterclockwise from the back of the manor, while Fang Rui's Boundless Sea went counterclockwise from the front of the manor. Dark Thunder arrived at the front of the manor. Boundless Sea arrived at the back of the manor. Then, the two went incautiously through the door. Everyone was speechless. These two former partners had become opponents, yet the two were still in harmony. You're circling around. I'll circle around. You're going counterclockwise. I'll go counterclockwise. You're going through the door. I'll go through the door. The two characters tiptoed their way through the manor as if they were mirrors of each other. The audience was helpless. They could only wait for the two to run into each other. But it was as if these two guys had made an agreement not to meet. The two had wandered through the first floor of the manor for a minute, yet neither side saw even a glimpse of the other. Afterwards, the two seemed to be tired. They crouched down at a corner and took a breather. At this moment, the public chat was put to use. "Hey, are you in the manor?" Fang Rui asked. "Yeah," Lin Jingyan replied. He didn't ask the same question back. The way Fang Rui asked the question made it clear that he was in the manor too. "How did you start the match?" Fang Rui went straight to the point. "I circled around to the front." Lin Jingyan went straight to the point. The playoffs was a death match, yet the two were chatting so nonchalantly. It was as if this was normal day-to-day practice. "Fuck," Fang Rui cursed. The referee immediately jumped out, giving him a yellow card. Swear words were not permitted. Lin Jingyan immediately understood. He didn't need to ask. Fang Rui had definitely circled around to the back. Their actions were equivalent to swapping positions. They had the same thought: avoid getting caught and carefully scout the surroundings. I avoid you, you avoid me, and so the two went in circles, unable to find each other. Keep going. Lin Jingyan was determined to resolve this predicament. Both sides were incomparably familiar with each other's habits and thoughts. To out-predict the other, just predicting one step ahead wouldn't be enough because the other side would also predict one step ahead. As a result, neither of them would be able to get the right prediction. Dark Thunder stood up from the corner, taking the lead. Lin Jingyan switched perspectives, imaging what Fang Rui would do next. Then, he would formulate a plan through deeper reads. The two characters started going in circles again. Another minute passed. This time, the two didn't disappoint him. The two players met at the spiraling staircase. The encounter wasn't sudden, instead seeming very natural, as if the two had agreed to rendezvous here at a certain time. The two took their own paths and finally met. Finally, some fighting. The viewers thought to themselves. But the two just stared at each other. To think they would bump into each other here. What did that mean? It meant the two were still in harmony. They had a deep understanding of each other, so they tried to out-predict each other. But in the end, their predictions were at the same depth. XX. Fang Rui cursed, typing XX. The corner of the referee's mouth twitched. XX wasn't a violation of the rules, but it was obvious that the XX had the same meaning as fuck. Fang Rui didn't say any profanities, but he got the idea across. The two stared at each other for a good 3 seconds. Besides Fang Rui's XX, neither said anything. Suddenly, the two acted simultaneously. Chi bullet. Sand toss. Each player used a long-range skill. They launched their attacks at the same time and dodged at the same time. In the end, neither side was hit by the other's attack. Again, Brawler and Chi Master went back and forth, putting up an intense fight. Everyone watching could feel their jaws drop. Was this a fight? WuxRWorldAudio.com. Or was this a synchronized show? Attack, dodged, the two mirrored each other perfectly. You missed, I missed. They went back and forth, appearing more like a dance than a battle. Quote. After half a minute, Lin Jingyan typed a word into the chat. Dark Thunder's offense suddenly halted. Fang Rui's Boundless Sea also stopped. They realized where the issue lay. Even though they were good friends, this was the playoffs. They had a responsibility as pro players to help their team win, so they used their familiarity with their opponent, hoping to turn it into a weapon. But since the two had a similar level of understanding of each other, the decision that they made were pretty much the same. Their familiarity didn't become a weapon, instead neutralizing any threat between them. The deep understanding between the two of them obstructed their fight. This wasn't a good feeling. They were proud of their deep understanding of each other, but in this match, it became their obstacle. To win this fight, they need to see who could get rid of this connection, the connection of their past. Another 3-second pause and then, attack. The Brawler's tricks and the Chi Master's chi collided. The two started getting hit. You punched me, I'll brick you. The fight was intense, but to the more skilled players, it was unbearably rough. This was a match that required understanding of their background. The roughness was because of their familiarity, because both sides knew each other too well, making what methods they had unusable. Instead, attacking without any skill would achieve better results. They weren't supporting each other anymore. Instead, they schemed, plotted, and set up traps. Many players with partners couldn't bear to keep watching. What a cruel competition. To win, the two turned their former understanding and complete trust in one another into all sorts of sinister schemes. Huang Shaoshan, who had been communicating with Yu Wenzhou throughout the match through text, fell silent. Sun Zheping, Zhang Jiale, Han Wenqing, Zhang Xinji, Yishu, Su Mucheng. All of these people knew what it meant to be partners, but these former partners were destroying everything they had established before. For victory, for glory. Every player had many restraints, but for their dreams, they had no choice but to ruthlessly cut off these restraints. As time passed, their health bars dropped. The people who understood the match didn't want to analyze the details. Only people who didn't understand cheered according to the ups and downs of the player that they supported. No matter how cruel it was, all things came to an end. No matter how unwilling you were, in the end, there would only ever be one standing in the end. Fang Rui, Chi Master, Boundless Sea. In the end, the screen left only a single name. Lin Jingyan, Brawler. Dark Thunder turned dim as his time was over. The crowd cheered for Fang Rui and for Happy's win. The pro players, watching in the stadium, stood up and applauded. They applauded for a match that didn't have any impressive or brilliant plays. They applauded for the mutual understanding between the two players, for their determination to win. They applauded for their everlasting ambition to be the champions, an ambition that would always be worthy of pride. End chapter.
The King's Avatar, Chapter 1493. Referee Assistance. Audio source, WuxRWorldAudiobook.com. Chapter 1493. Referee Assistance. Translator, Noam Yummy. Editor, Noam Yummy. In the end, I still lost. Lin Jingyan sighed as he walked out from the player booth. Although it was a pity, he didn't feel upset. Losing to Feng Rui was an acceptable outcome. After all, he was in his peakling years, while Feng Rui was at his peak. In terms of getting rid of the past, it had been 2 years, yet he still could not forget his demon subduer. As for Feng Rui, he had even switched classes. Feng Rui had evidently been more decisive than him in this matter. I really have turned old, while Feng Rui has a long road ahead of him left. Looking towards Happy's seats on the other side, Lin Jingyan felt it was a pity that this was a group arena. Feng Rui was not allowed to leave his seat until his role was over. Lin Jingyan wanted to use this opportunity to give Feng Rui his well wishes. He didn't know if the two of them would ever have another chance to face against each other again on this stage. After gazing in silence at that side for a while, Lin Jingyan walked down from the stage. His well wishes could only remain in his heart. Good luck, my friend. With the end of this fight, the group arena was at the halfway mark. Happy had 3 players left, including Feng Rui. Tyranny only had 2 players left. As Lin Jingyan walked down from the stage, Tyranny's 4th player stood up. Tyranny's Song King, a striker rookie. He had joined this season, steadily maturing. It seemed that he would be Desert Smoke's successor. And in this important playoffs stage, Tyranny had the confidence to send him onto the stage. Tyranny was not happy. They had other options besides a rookie. Even so, Song King had been fielded as Tyranny's important 4th player in the group arena. The team's intent to raise him could clearly be seen. However, placing him in this position didn't mean he was the anchor of this group arena. From a certain perspective, fielding him as the 4th player showed Tyranny's attitude towards this group arena. Tyranny's 4th player is Song King. It seems that Tyranny had no plans of ending this group arena with their 4th player. Pan Lin immediately started to analyze this arrangement. In the playoffs, the 4th player was oftentimes the team's core player, trying to win the group arena 4-5 to take a 2-point lead into the team competition. The more aggressive teams would even place their core player 3rd to take a 3-point lead. But Tyranny had placed Song King 4th. It was likely that their 5th player would be their core captain Han Wenqing. That would be the most appropriate arrangement. Li Yibo had come from Tyranny, and Tyranny's captain and core player had been Han Wenqing for all 10 years. The team's captain hadn't changed, and the team's core hadn't changed. As a result, it was hard for the team's temperament to change. Even though Li Yibo had left Tyranny many years ago, he still had a good grasp of the team. But today, Han Wenqing avoided Yi Shu and didn't even take the 4th position, instead fielding Song King. The more familiar one was with the team, the more strange it felt encountering something unexpected. When Pan Lin raised the discussion, Li Yibo stared blankly for a long time before replying. Away teams will often play more conservatively. It was a standard response. Li Yibo had lost confidence in analyzing Tyranny as former Tyranny player. The Tyranny today felt too different. Well, let's see how Song King performs. It's also quite a coincidental matchup. When Song King first appeared this season, he had to face Happy's Feng Rui, Pan Lin said. But Feng Rui shouldn't last much longer. It could be said that Feng Rui had achieved a 1v2. He took down Zhang Zhali's dazzling 100 Blossoms, using quite a bit of mana. After that, even though he won against Lin Jingyan, it had been a bloody fight. Boundless Sea only had 14% of his health and 11% of his mana left. He was an arrow at the end of his flight. Winning for Feng Rui will be difficult, but with Feng Rui's methods, if Song King is too careless, he'll suffer the consequences, Li Yibo said. It's unlikely that he'll be careless, no. Pan Lin chuckled. Li Yibo laughed as well. The current Song King was no longer the same Song King as when he first fought Feng Rui. It had been an entire season. As one of the favorites to win the title Best Rookie, Song King had received much attention. Although he looked to be Desert Smoke's successor, his personality was quite similar to Tyranny's vice-captain, Zhang Xinjie. He was careful and meticulous. He was young, but with his personality, how could he be careless? The match began as the two commentators discussed this issue. Song King met their expectations. The match had just started, and his attitude towards the upcoming fight could already be seen. As he traveled, it didn't matter whether the battle would reach these areas, he would still carefully observe them. His line of sight constantly shifted left and right. However, the route he chose was still the middle road. The viewers had given up on seeing a battle in water or a forest in this map because the manor at the center of the map had indoor rooms, which meant protection to a certain extent. Taking a roundabout route towards the manor had no meaning in this map, which was why neither of the two teams made that sort of choice. One player towards the front of the manor, one player towards the back of the manor. The two players met again in the manor for the 7th time. For someone with a cautious and strict personality like Zhang Xinjie, Song King had probably thought out his plan for this fight before he even got onto the stage. When Song King made it to the back of the manor, he didn't go through the back door nor did he jump onto the roof. Instead, he adeptly searched for a window and went in. The two teams had fought several rounds all inside the manor. Tyranny had a good idea of the structure of the manor by now. When he jumped through the window, he immediately turned up, left, right, checking his surroundings. Song King quickly grasped his present situation. He didn't see Boundless Sea. Afterwards, it looked like he already knew what to do as River Sunset walked towards the right corridor. When he reached the second door along the corridor, he went in. He moved step by step as if he were following steps in a guide. Feng Rui's Boundless Sea was inside the manor too. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. He didn't have much health nor mana. How could he openly welcome his opponent? Last round, he took a roundabout route to the back of the manor, but he was too in harmony with Lin Jingyan. He didn't want to use the same method twice though, so he had Boundless Sea climb onto the walls of the manor. He didn't climb to the roof, instead climbing onto a balcony and entering the manor through the second floor. The second floor was much more intact than the first floor. Only 2 battles had taken place here. Yizhu and Qin Muyan had fought here. Yizhu had launched a surprise attack onto Zhang Jiali here too, but the aftermath of it was just a hole in the floor. Feng Rui had Boundless Sea move towards that hole. When he reached the hole, he took a look at the surroundings. After picking a spot, his Boundless Sea crouched down. Crouch. Guarding a tree stump and waiting for rabbits. In vast open maps, this sort of ambush tactic rarely worked. It only had value if you knew the target's pathing. But Feng Rui hadn't done any investigation, yet he still went straight for this hole and crouched there. Everyone started wondering when a system notification would come. If someone just sat there patiently not caring if the opponent actually came or not, how long would the match take? As a result, the Glory had rules to prevent it. The referee could judge according to the circumstances whether the player was complying with the rules and then interfere if necessary. Of course there need to be some concrete rules too. The referee couldn't just start interfering as soon as a character hid behind a corner. The referee could interfere after no target was seen for 18 seconds. The players familiar with Glory's rules started helping Feng Rui count. They were familiar with the rules. How could the master of playing dirty Feng Rui not be either? When it became 17 seconds, Boundless Sea switched postures. Glory's referees weren't machines. This sort of clever loophole in the rules could be denied based on their own subjective views. However, it looked like the referee was okay with Feng Rui's cleverness and didn't interfere after 18 seconds. Boos started coming from the crowd, from Tyranny's fans. Tyranny's loyal fans were familiar with the rules. They started booing at the referee because they felt that the referee was being biased towards the home team. The referee ignored them because the boos were quickly suppressed by the applause. Tyranny's fans wouldn't be able to affect the referee's decision. This was Happy's home stadium. Feng Rui only switched postures. His goal hasn't changed. Isn't this violating the 18-second rule for sitting and waiting? Pan Lin called the referee's decision into question. The referee can make decisions based on his own discretion. First, the two characters are inside the manor, greatly reducing the search area and increasing the chances that Feng Rui's patience will pay off. Second, Song Qing's river sunset is very close by. It's very likely that he'll walk into Feng Rui's range. My guess is that the referee acknowledged the increased success rate, so he judged that it was fair and didn't interfere. If Song Qing chooses to break away from his current route, my guess is that the referee will probably interfere. Li Yibo was quite knowledgeable about the referee's thought process. I see. But from a certain perspective, by not interfering, isn't the referee leaking information to the player? Pan Lin said. Li Yibo stared blankly. When he looked at the match again, Boundless Sea was no longer crouching, but standing up. Qi was gathering in his palms. However, he couldn't actually see any traces of River Sunset, yet he was already preparing his ambush as if he knew River Sunset was coming. Silly referee. His decision seemed very rational, based on the circumstances of the match, but Feng Rui exploited it. This master of playing dirty took advantage of the rules. Seeing that the referee didn't interfere, he judged that Song Qing must be nearing his ambush location. End chapter.